Hi.
Hi, everyone.
I'm Ellen. I'm one of the co-executive directors of Fringe. I bet you can guess who the other one is.
Yeah, Lois, pronoun she, her, the co-executive director. We're going to keep it kind of, I know there's not a lot of people in the room, but we'll try to keep it more formal. That way the video gets all of the things that we are putting down.
I also just want to quickly start off by doing a visual description for people who are listening and can't understand who I am, or can't see who I am. I am a white woman with brown hair. It's curly and kind of messy and bangs. I'm wearing chair earrings, and I'm wearing all blue, and including a sweater vest, and wearing the black box theater.
Okay, and Lois speaking now, visual description. I'm a white woman, mid-length, dark brown hair, currently wearing a all black, like kind of sweatsuit blazer situation. We'll start out by doing a land acknowledgement. Land acknowledgement. The Hollywood Fringe acknowledges we are on the unceded lands of the Gabrielino, Tongva, and Chumash people. Our statement serves as a practice as we commit to furthering our connection to Indigenous communities, past, present, and emerging.
Successful day. Yeah. So you're probably like, when it's Fringe? Fringe is in June. It's all of June. And that might seem overwhelming to you, but it also might seem really exciting. It is kind of like something that we encourage you to dive into the whole month. Yeah. That being said, most of our participants work part-time to full-time jobs during the month of June. Yeah. It is something you can balance with your everyday life, especially if you're here local to Los Angeles, which 90% of our artists tend to be. So the dates will be June 4th through the 9th. We have a little preview week. Previews is the same as the normal week. You just call it a preview so that when you screw it up, you go, it was a preview. It's also a really great time for you to get press. So we really recommend that people do the preview week, at least one performance, sometimes two performances, depending on how many performances you do. Then we have no shows on June 10th because we have this giant opening night party. It's gorgeous. It's usually, up to about 800 people all celebrating the fact that we are opening up this massive festival. Yeah. And so everybody, even your cast and you and all of your friends should come. And then our official festival runs the 11th through the 28th. And our award ceremony is on a Monday afterwards. That way, on that last Sunday, we have all of the shows. And then voting on our awards, which we'll talk about, throughout these coming months, closes on that 10 a.m. of the next day. That way, every show gets to be seen. And we have, be coming up to that. You're like, okay, so that's all in June. What do I do now? You start coming to these events.
Yeah. You're doing the exact right thing. We always say you have to dive in, or you get what you put in, right? So already I can tell the four of you sitting here in this room and anyone who watches this recording, you're going to have a successful experience if you continue that. You really do get what you put in, and showing up is 99% of the game. And we'll give you so many opportunities to show up via 11 plus workshops and town halls, networking events like office hours, and then scattered events throughout that. We really try to provide you the networking experience in addition to the toolbox to be able to put up your show. Oftentimes we'll have every spectrum from fully veteran producer who has done LA theater for 30 years to someone who's fresh out of college who's never stepped foot into the professional industry, or someone who's been an artist for their whole life but has never produced their own show. Hey, come on in. And all of that exists at Fringe, but know that if you are new to producing, you can get all of the tools by watching the workshops, just coming to events. We really lay it out so that you have the producer hat on as well as the artist hat, not to mention the shared experience of everyone in the community. Last year we had 1,800 artists that were a part of the festival. And so that's your new community. That's your network. Again, if you choose to show up, you have not only the experience and the expertise we share, but their experience and expertise, which is mind-blowing how much you can learn just by talking to fellow artists.
So how does Fringe work? We're really transparent that it does cost money to do Fringe. It is not something that is to be taken lightly, and we really realize how much money our artists are putting in to make sure that this festival happens every year. And so we'll break down some of those costs for you. So the first thing you do is you create your project, right? You have this little project page on our website, and then you're going to find a venue within the Fringe zone. And there's two ways you can do that. You can come with our traditional venues. If it's your first time, you should do that. Please don't do a BYOV if it's your first time doing Fringe. That's crazy, because then you have to be a venue manager and a participant, and that's really hard to do when you've never seen Fringe work. So most of these venues will be within our Hollywood Fringe, or all of these venues will be within our Hollywood Fringe zone, which is a little bit into East Hollywood, a little bit into West Hollywood, and mostly Central Hollywood. This is one of them. There's 4 spaces within this. There's one down the street, down the street, down the street. And our goal is that every kind of area has venues around it. There's no such thing as a bad venue at Fringe. And there's no such thing as a good venue at Fringe. It's all dependent on your show, your feelings walking into the theater, your relationship with the venue managers, because they are not us, but they are our like arms of Fringe that will bring you in as well. And so you want to make sure that you really love your venue. You really love the shows that are in your venue. You meet people and you kind of build community that way. And so you will book that venue. You will pay your registration fee, which, heads up, it is going up this year for the first time since 2019. But we've gotten to that point where we have to raise the price.
Inflation.
So when you're budgeting for that, know that we will be raising our prices for our registration. We don't know that number yet because we're still fundraising for it. And our goal is to make it as low as possible. Yeah, but it won't go above $450. That's like our oh my God, we didn't fundraise anything, which might be the case. And so that you pay that into us, you get your ticketing platform, you get all of these events that we produce, and you also get one-to-one help. So our goal is that you are in communication with our team as much as possible.
As you want to be.
There are very few of us, but we're actually a very open door policy. There's these things called artist one-on-ones, and we're about to talk about these resources where you can come and book a meeting and we can help you go through what it looks like for your individual show casting. Our goal is that when you present here at Fringe, you're actually excited to tour your show afterwards. You're excited to have an expanded life afterwards. And we can talk with you about what are those ways to do so and how to utilize the Fringe platform the best way for your goals. Because your goal might just be, I want to get a show up and I want to do it in a community of artists. That's an okay goal. Your goal might be, I want to get a theater review so that the next time I put this up with my theater company, I have reviews and I have these things to do. That's again, through our reviewing process, that is an attainable goal. But it's about choosing your goals and kind of focusing it. So you pay for these 2 things, and then 100% of the ticket sales go back to you.
Yeah. Something to name, like with Fringe, yes, of course you pay a registration fee, but the venues are cheaper. So the part of the Fringe model is that there's a shared cost. Because venues are booking not just your show for the weekend, they're booking 15 upwards. I mean, what the singular venue spaces can host 100 shows in their space. So you're sharing that financial responsibility. So yes, you're paying in, but you're saving money in other pockets of the producing aspect, including marketing discounts. We work with neighboring businesses to make sure producers have access to cheaper printing, to cheaper promotion, things like that. But something I think to remember at Fringe, as you this is the very beginning. Basically, we're just going to spit more information at you than you could possibly kind of digest. But just to give you an idea of kind of things to start thinking about, the questions to ask as we have entire town halls about each of these topics. The registration process, we'll have a full 2-hour town hall where we talk about the registration process. So know that it's going to be broken down. This is just kind of a word vomit. Get some of the language into your head. But Fringe is a self-produced festival, and I think that's something to know really early on so that you can prepare yourself for that. We are here to provide tools, education, and opportunities, but we're not co-proing your individual show. Last year alone, we had 420 productions. The 6 people who are on staff, only 2 of which are full-time, are not co-producing 420 shows. But we will, if you jump in early and you jump in hard, we will give you all the tools and the information you need to do it yourself. So I do think it's important, though, just to know that you can't just come put up a play at Fringe, never set foot into the community during the entire process and think that you're going to sell tickets just because your show looks cool. It won't happen. So knowing that right now you're in the creative gooey process, enjoy that, but know you're going to have to put the producer hat on at some point if it's going to be a successful run.
So you're how do I do this? And we have a couple of ways for you to learn through that process. One we've been talking about are these workshops and town halls. If you're a more visual learner, we also have our supportal. Our supportal is support.hollywoodfringe.org. And there's a whole artist hub there that breaks down what we used to call our participant packet. It's now more interactive. You can click the links easier. It's called our supportal hub. And this hub has decade of knowledge from our community about how best to produce in LA. And so it's a great resource for Fringe, but also in general, if you're like curious about what these things how these things work in a festival setting or in LA, it's a great resource for you.
It's not all that different outside of, and even at the end of the day, artists that have done Fringe still have access to the community. The network doesn't go away because Fringe ends. They have access to us. The amount of time we still answer your supporting mails. You're like, hey, I'm doing another Fringe run, another run in Denver. Maybe how do I, any advice on this? Like we got your back. So those tools are going to be there forever.
Artist one-on-ones are a huge part of what we do, so make sure that you're signing up for those. They will go live starting on November 18th. They're I believe, live like next week. We'll send an email. But they will start again on November 18th, and this is where you can book in 30 minutes to talk to Roddy. And if Roddy's schedule is too much, me and Lois, about what to do with your show. And it's really just a great time for you to be able to introduce yourself and be able to get some knowledge about your specific show. The other way is showing up. Coming to office hours is so important. Coming into events, we are so like the faces of people who like when you see our face, we want you to say, "Hey, I know you. I went to this and we talked about this." And I'll be like, "I know, I remember because I tried." And we try to remember your names, and we try to make sure that this is like, oh, we are your beacon. And there's a lot of people, so the fact that people come early, that is the time where you get to know us, and then we will introduce you to other people who have been in the community for a long time. The whole idea is that people mentor each other, because LA theater is very difficult. And we are in one of the most radically, unfortunately, hardest times to fundraise for independent theater. And we know that our artists are going to be facing that as well. On the institutional level, it's broken. On the individual level,
That's all the good news today.
on the individual level, there are some things. And so that is what we have to do as a community is right now say, this institutional level is broken. There is no artist funding. There is no applications. There are very few grants. And when we get them, we email them to you guys. So please apply for them when we see these things come through. But we know that there's so few grants for you all to do this, and that you will need to self-fund your show. We are going to have workshops about how to do that. There are lots of people who have done really, really successful crowdfunding campaigns. There are people who have done out-of-the-box ideas. If you do not yet know how you're going to fund your Fringe show, make sure you look up some of our past workshops and then come to the workshop coming up, which will be coming up soon, about how to fund your Fringe show.
And the fun thing, if you're like, okay, because we've been here for this is our 16th year, Jesus, we're getting old. But it's 15 years of information workshops. We are information hoarders. Nothing goes away entirely. So Google is a great resource when it comes to like your Fringe journey. If it's just like budgeting Hollywood Fringe, Google that, and 19 articles to 15 workshops are going to pop up. If you're like, I don't want to wait until like all of these things come up in the 2026 season, Google is your pal, and you can find so much information right there.
And then internally, we have two funding programs. We have the Fringe Scholarship Program, which is available to first-time Hollywood Fringe producers who contribute to the ethnic, cultural, racial, disability, and deaf diversity of the Fringe community. BIPOC and Spanish productions are encouraged to apply, as well as low-income, informally incarcerated people. Some of the information they're changing. We're doing some tweaks on that program this year, but it will be back. Applications open November 24th, and there's a panel on December 2nd if you would like to come learn more about that program. And then we have our Artist Fund program, which is available to low-income Angelinos. So anybody who's in the Los Angeles County zip codes and identifies as low income, which for us is the HUD definition of low income, which is pretty broad. It's about a 70, I don't know what the exact number is this year because we haven't had to announce it yet.
Yeah.
But last year it's like $75,000 for the household income. So it's not about your individual income, it's about what you're bringing into your household.
And for that, like we are not trying to come on in. But we don't overcorrect. It's like we self-identify and then we lottery up. Hey, grab a seat. Welcome.
And so those are the two funding opportunities under Hollywood Fringe. More information will be coming into your emails. Right now, if you are going to do Hollywood Fringe, being a part, like up to date on your emails is going to be a really important thing. We'll soon switch into like an artist email, and there will be a chance for you to sign up for that artist only email, which obviously you can sign up for by registering. But if you don't register on February 1st, we have an opportunity to make sure that you are still getting those artist emails.
Yeah.
So read your emails, make sure that you save our emails
Yeah, and know that you haven't missed anything. Like, I know that, like, again, this is a lot of information. Again, just so you can have some buzzwords as you're like looking through emails in the future. None of this has been announced outside of the dates of next year's festival. So know that you're not like behind, like, oh my God, I didn't know anything about these workshops. They're having budgeting. None of it has been announced yet. That November is the month that we start to like pull together what are dates and locations for all of our workshops, all of the details for the scholarship program, the artist fund. The artist fund won't even open until February because 25% we're fundraising for it. 25% of all of the, because we're a nonprofit organization, 25% of all of the fundraising we do through our membership program goes into the artist fund. So that goes directly into artist pockets via stipends. So last year we gave out 24 artist stipends. And so this year, I mean, ideally we give out 100, but it'll really depend on how much we're fundraising in the next few months, which is why we don't have any hard facts on that just yet. But again, so just keep an eye on emails and social. Everything is going to become much more clear in the next like 3 weeks.
Time check. Does anybody have a time? Because my phone is
10:24.
Oh my God, it's right there.
God bless.
God bless the theater.
I know.
Oh my God.
Speaking of theater, thank you to the Broadwater and Patrick, who somebody saw walk by a second ago, for hosting us on what is arguably the longest panel day of our like Fringe season. So very grateful to be here on the Broadwater. And I'm sure he'll be around if you are interested. But you get to check out 2 of the theaters today that are all part of Fringe.
So that's the admin stuff.
Yeah.
So starting to just talk about like what our structure is for today, starting in about 5 minutes, we're in this room and the room next door are going to be panels. This room, the first sessions are
We have intro Fringe happening right now, and then writing solo work at Fringe will be in the second stage, which is
Black Box.
Black Box. Just kidding, I can read. In the Black Box, which is next door. When writing ensemble work is going to be in here, and we have signs at the front doors, or you can just like if you hear the wrong title, move to the other theater. We're keep super casual like that. And then at 12 o'clock, we're going to do another double panel session where we have how to devise work beyond text in the Black Box. And big ideas, small stages, exploring theatricality in the second stage. From there, we're going to have a 30-minute break to like grab a bite. There's the Hudson Cafe lobby or Hudson Theaters Cafe lobby, which is a 6-minute walk just this way that has like quick sandwiches, coffee, something you can grab and run back with. It's 6-minute walk, so you can easily do that in 30 minutes. And then after lunch, we are going to come back together and do speed networking, which is your chance to start to meet some of the community. Like we said, we've been saying this whole time, it's a knowledge share. It's about meeting your network of other theater artists. And so we're going to introduce you directly to at least 6, and then you'll be broken up into small groups to kind of play speed networking throughout it's kind of musical chairs networking.
It's super fun. It's super overwhelming. But before we get into this, anybody have like technical questions about Fringe, how Fringe works, or anything like that? Anybody have like, any questions about that, or do we want to? No?
Perfect. Okay. Well, to be if I did it. Yeah. Welcome. Yeah.
No question.
No, you didn't do. It's an official, like, we always do this in the beginning. But how many people are brand new to Fringe? Like, this is the first time you're new to Fringe here. Well, yes.
Welcome.
Welcome to the family. We're going to say it at every workshop and town hall because that's genuinely how we kind of move through community is we consider ourselves all one family. We take care of each other. We provide a safe space for art to take risks. That way, like, we have a code of conduct for a reason. Like that way you can take risks in your art and not have to worry about your person in these spaces. So genuinely welcome to the family. I can't wait to see what this year brings.